account. Then Zelda for some reason. Yeah, I am making the sounds up because it doesn't work. All right. Hola community. Before anything, please tell me if you hear my voice or not, because I am having an issue here where there's no sound device, no anything. I can't even, I click on the triggers and nothing happens. It works? Okay, awesome. Thanks everyone in the chat. Let's pretend this didn't happen. I'm gonna try to delete this. Cool. Later. So hola community, welcome to another episode of BlenderToday live streaming from Blender HQ here in Amsterdam. We are having some technical issues where the questions website is not loading for me. It says blender.community, but it just keeps loading. So we might answer questions here in the chat. Other than that, we have some updates on the Blender side mainly. There's not that many community updates besides the ones from the Blender Studio that I always share the latest blog post. Oh yeah, actually this one, the spring characters. So that not spring, the season we are in now. The characters from spring, the open movie, have been updated to the latest and greatest Blender 3.5 or 3. Whatever. I think in beta they should also work. Yeah, so super nice. These are all part of the character library, so make sure you check them out. These are all free to download, of course, and used on your projects or anything. What else? Oh, speaking of actual communities, today I added a new community because you know that we have, if you go to blender.org/community, you have a bunch of websites that are, or like groups, or like Telegram groups or Facebook groups, communities mainly that are around Blender, but the whole point is not to highlight the ones we already know, but the ones that are local communities. So in China, we have 2 communities that have been submitting their website here. Dutch, even French, of course, and the one I added today is the Ukrainian community, who has it didn't have a community added here, it was missing, so now it has the Telegram group. So thanks for submitting it, Marina, and let's go on with what's new in Blender. Yeah, if you want to add your community, by the way, here there is a link to poke me on the Blender chat. You need to add a name, logo, and description. And the community, it's better if the community is actually already established in a way, like it has some people in it, and not empty groups, because it's hard to judge what's going on. And also no closed groups. If it's a Facebook group, it must be open. Well, any groups in any community should be open, accessible. Other than that, I will start actually. There was, so in order. Oh, I don't have the sound even for the pipe, because this doesn't. Does it do anything for you when I press this button? No, it doesn't show in OBS, so probably doesn't do anything. Let's see. Starts with cycles, but actually cycles doesn't have a. I asked the developers what do they think if it was worth it or not to show this feature, because it's mainly a change in well, it's removing the multi-GGX code, replacing it with albedo scaling. So it's supposed to be simpler. It should look about the same and about the same render time. So it's mainly internal maintenance. Fix the mouse issue. No, is the mouse showing? No, I don't see the mouse showing up here. So yeah, I have several problems here today. Technical problems, computers. The change, actually, if you go to the wiki, which you should every now and then, in release notes, Blender 4.0 alpha on cycle. So I wanted to investigate, okay, what is this thing? Remove multi-GGX code. And then I decided to check if the developers have added it to the lists. And yes, actually there is 2 sections on where it was added. One for shader nodes, and where it explains a bit better that the implementation was replaced. and also OSL. There is some changes, internal changes that remove some code that Blender used to have, and it's a breaking change, but because it's 4.0, it's okay. And they add 3 Material X microfacet closures now that Blender has its own, Cycles has its own microfacet stuff. And other than that, it was all of it. There is no pictures, so I think it should be the same. Although there's 2 PDFs sent from ImageWorks and yeah, Sony ImageWorks. So yeah, it's one of those things that you have to look carefully for it. But if I don't have a picture, a before and after, for me it's hard to tell. We move from the letter C to the letter G for Grease Pencil 3. So Grease Pencil is still unusable. Last week it was added. It was just a checkbox. Still unusable. But remember that last week I couldn't see anything, not even like the vertices. Well, now there is an overlay support. Yay. Also, I couldn't add Suzanne. It wasn't added properly. Now there is a Suzanne operator and a new one for creating a generic Grease Pencil object. So Grease Pencil 3.0 is 1 week old, and now you can actually see things and add things properly. So that's very welcome. You know what else is welcome? When geometry nodes, there are new nodes. There is one node that is called Add Corners of Edge. This adds the corners of edge topology node to geometry nodes. Combining this with the face of corner nodes allows getting information about the faces connected to an edge. Multiple informations. The behavior is slightly non-obvious. The node only gives the corner neighbors that come before the current edge in directly neighboring faces. This allows the operation to be easily reversed and reduces redundancy between nodes. Interesting. There is a dev talk thread about it. I don't immediately get what is it. Like, it gets info from the, it's like neighbors, but corners. Also, the corner of an edge. An edge by itself doesn't have a corner, does it? Well, if it has multiple. What is a corner of an edge? Is it when an edge is subdivided and then split, is that a corner? Or does it become a corner when it has a face around it? If a tree falls in the in a forest and you don't hear it, the next 4 changes are all, they all have to do with the delete geometry node and a bunch of optimizations. Like, it's been rewritten and there are 4 commits. Maybe they're all related to similar changes, but this one, it's a new implementation. It's about 2 to 4 times faster for the delete geometry node. Then there was another performance improvement for deleting with vertex groups. And in the old mode of the node, handle vertex groups data separately from other attributes, which allows copying all vertex groups at once, which means in a file with 172 vertex groups, the node became 12 times faster, from 25 milliseconds to 2.2 milliseconds. That's insane. With fewer vertex groups, the change will be smaller. Nice. But the more vertex groups you have, okay, 12 times faster. I'm gonna use that. Hans, thank you for making it Blender faster, by the way. You're in the chat here, and thanks for explaining what it's like, the corners neighboring an edge. Okay, makes sense. Next, parallelize at delete geometry selection conversion. Always parallelization is a good welcome change. This one, it's the conversion of an edge selection to a vertex selection, which makes it approximately twice as fast. Interesting. The other change, it has to do with hopping data around, and also slightly faster, from when deleting all to 23 to 30 FPS. Only faces and only edges and faces. The difference is smaller, but still very much welcome. Then there were updates in the internationalization, like the weekly update is always like one commit that it keeps getting updated with all the new strings that get added. So that is usually very much welcome. You know what else is welcome? When when you don't have two versions of the same thing and one is deprecated because you don't know what to use. Although kind of obvious to have deprecated or experimental. So two of the IO add-ons that were converted into C++ in the last few months, versions have been removed now. So the old OBJ and PLY Python add-ons have been removed because the replacement versions in C++ are now feature complete, feature parity. If you are still relying for some reason on the Python ones, please make yourself heard, like report and issue, because these they're gone now. It's Blender 4.0. It's time to do some spring cleaning, which is nice that in this part of the hemisphere it's spring and Blender 4.0 is in Beacon 1, so it matches. You know what else I'm glad that made it to Blender 4.0 and not to 3.6? This patch, it was submitted some time ago, like the pull request was submitted some time ago, and it was suggested to be on 3.4, but I'm glad that this didn't make it to 3.4 and it's in 4.0, because this change fixes Suzanne's QB map. What? Yes. This is a breaking change to me. I think this is a breaking change, because the Suzanne's topology it's known to be not maybe the best, but with those issues it makes it really good for teaching. You show Suzanne, it's like, okay guys, don't do this. The same with UV maps, although UV maps a bit less, but now Suzanne's UV map has been fixed to be a bit more symmetric, and well, to be symmetric actually, and to have a bit easier to, like this is the old one with the weirdly shaped eyes, and now the eyes are actual like half spheres. So yeah, small change, but was there a whole face missing? Like you can see my mouse, but on next to the eye that is up here to the left, there is a missing I didn't know there was a missing bit, a part of Suzanne that wasn't UV mapped at all. Anyway, welcome change, but remember, if you use Suzanne to teach good UVs, now you have to make good UVs. The next change is in the we go from M, from modeling, to N, to node editor. The node editor has one improvement that makes it more, it's one of those changes that Leon likes to tackle, which are for, you know, things making consistent in when you zoom in and out, they're pixel perfect, and this is no exception. Node editor. Don't change size of resize area for the frame nodes with the zoom. The resize area was very inconsistent, so when you zoom in or out, you basically would lose, or you would lose precision on where you could use to resize the nodes, the frames. Not anymore. Now this is consistent. So when you're zoom out, the area it's a bit larger, and when you're zoom in, you don't have this whole chunk because you don't need it. Yay for that. Thank you, Leon, for looking into these small details. Okay, so outliner. This one I didn't get to see. So many of the changes that I'm showing today, because of all the technical issues I had, I haven't seen. So you're actually gonna get my real reaction for the first time to these changes, which is good, right? It's very candid. let's call it candid, because yeah, too many technical issues lately. Outliner. Port curve elements to the new 3-element code design. Okay, no user visible changes, but this is pretty neat because this is part of the Google Summary of Code, I believe, right? or not? Almas Shimbai. Is that? Let's see. Wiki. Google Summit of Code. Where is it? Google here. Google Summit of Code 2023. And Outliner. Yes, Almas. Wow, awesome. So good to see that Almas is already committing to master, to the main branch. Cool. Gives me hope for other Google Summer of Code projects to show up. And the summer hasn't even started yet. It's spring of code. Awesome, thank you, Almas. And also porting the mesh elements to the new 3-element code design. Hopefully this will bring the cool thing about having developers or new developers to look at these parts of the code is that then they are familiar with the code. So if they decide to hang around in Blender forums and Blender code, it's easier to implement new features. Okay, the next from O we go to P for paint. What is this? Paint. Add loop select for faces. Nice. Consistency, because loop select is available in edit mode, but it's not in the paint modes. So add loop selection identical to the behavior of alt click in edit mode. Alt click select loop, alt shift click, add a loop while retaining the current selection. Add or remove loop, actually. Alt shift click, control click, deselect the loop. That doesn't sound right. Oh, I have here for another demo. So this is alt click. So let's make a bunch of loops here. So if I'm in edit mode, if I'm in weight paint mode, in texture paint, whatever paint, and I go into mesh select, alt right click, yes, nice. Alt shift only adds, but it doesn't remove. But in edit mode, it does remove. You can click to toggle. It's a toggle, add or remove. But in yeah, no, I think it's it needs to change, because this is alt shift control click to deselect loop. Alt shift control. Yeah, no, that's wrong. Because the shortcut alt shift control is to deselect the whole thing. Alt shift click is to toggle the selection and the selection. Yeah, all right. So that's for the bug reports. Outrageous, says Peter. No, it's okay. It's just that you know, with this alt shift control click, or maybe they were using right click select, or maybe they were using the alt the emulate alt emulate third button. That also makes issues. So yes, inconsistency in that one, but it's easy to fix. It's just a shortcut. If you look at the code, it's one liner probably. More changes with P. We go to P of particles. Actually, particle changes. Actually, removal. So have you ever tried to render the halo or the line view modes of particles? Well, if you were in 2.7, then you could, but I think in 2.8, I have never seen the halo being rendered. I don't remember. Maybe 2.80 in the first Eevee. But yeah, no, they were not working, so they have been removed now. So path is still visible for hair rendering, but halo and line, they have been removed, making some room for Blender 4.0. Well, making some room for more code, new code in Blender 4.0. Let's continue with the letter P for Python API. This is a small change, but it changes the RNA property called file name is renamed to file path for some functions, for the ones listed here. However, if you, I mean, this is mainly for people that make add-ons and scripts and like pipeline scripts. If you follow BlenderToday every week, then yeah, go ahead and change it. But otherwise, I would suggest you to just hold on to your horse until Blender 0.0 beta, and then go to the wiki, release notes, Blender 4.0 alpha, Python API, and just do all the changes that are listed here. The one I just mentioned is listed in here, rename file name. Okay, you can see when I highlight text at least. What else? From P we go to R of Refactor. No, Readfile, Refactor, both with R. This is pretty interesting too, because it is a change in like the core of Blender, like loading a file. Many parts of the code are a bit old, and this is the right time to update in Blender 4.0. In this case, the rewrite is mainly to make the code more modern, but also it ends up being faster, and it fixes a bunch of crashes. So undo step, you know, when you open a file, undo step is almost like opening it again sometimes, depending on the size of the undo. But the undo step is now faster. How much faster? Well, between 2 or 3 times faster in some cases, because it doesn't have to do remapping anymore, which takes the whole read undo step process about 20% faster. Neat. Hey, faster loading times, faster undo, always welcome. There are more changes actually. I didn't mention it here, but there's more changes in the core of Blender. Nice. Someone was asking in the chat before, I think, if Blender 4.0 was like a complete rewrite, and no, it's not. Blender 4.0 is it's just an iteration on Blender 3, on Blender 2.8, but because it's a big change, it's a big number update, like a major number change. The developers are using this opportunity to removing part of the code that are either outdated or that they're just too much work to maintain. So that means that if you start a project with Blender before 4.0, you can start it with Blender 3.6, which is going to be an LTS release and gonna get support for 2 years. But for anything else, just start from scratch with Blender 4, or move a file from 3.3 from 3.6 to 4, but you can't go back. You can only go to 4. The next change, more refactors. Okay, these you shouldn't have. This I haven't checked. So what is it? Bidirectionality on the graph editor sliders. This pull request changes the ranges of some of the operators in the graph editor to be more logical. The following operators can be modified with a range of -1 to 1, with the default being 0. Blend to neighbor, breakdown, and ease. Oh yeah, I think they used to have like 0 to 1. Now is -1 to 1. Neat. This is a breaking change because Python calls to these operators will now yield different results. For example, blend to neighbor at 0 does nothing now, while before it did blend to the left neighbor. Eek. Yes, so nice. These kind of changes are great. I love it. Nice, thank you, Chris. The next one, remove pre 2.8 function to reevaluate a single object. Again, more changes than in the cleaning up, for the sake of cleaning up Blender. All right, now the start of the show, the change that is gonna make transforming, snapping, hard surface modeling, architecture, handling, transform much easier. Enter snap base. Is a new modifier, like an option that you can toggle while you're transforming objects to change temporarily where the snapping base is going to be, like the origin of the snapping is going to be from. So let me show it in a file here. So let's say I have this scene here, and it's beautiful scene that is available in the Blender demo files page. So say, for example, I want to grab these objects, right? And I want to put them in this table here. I would, well, because they happen to be at a similar height, I would probably like manually go here and then put it by hand. But now you can use snapping and then toggle, for example, if we can do vertex, edge, and project, just to toggle a few. And with this, we can now, for example, I start moving with G, right? Then I press B to set the base point, the B as in a B, like the B movie. And so with B, I'm gonna choose where to what is the snap point. I hope you can see the cursor. It's when you press G and you press B, you have I have a cursor that I can select a vertex that is going to be my snap base point. So I can press click and then I can move things, move this object around, and then it's going to snap to whatever, but using the base point that I said before. So let's say I'm not gonna do edge. Let's face project and vertex. So press B, B again, and then I can put it here. Amazing. And if I want to copy it up here, I can do the same. So I can do, for example, Shift D, and then press B and choose another vertex, because it doesn't have to be the vertex in the object that I'm using. I can use the top of this table and then click and then move it up here, and then bam, it's done. So it is pretty handy. For transform, for scaling, for example, if I want to scale something, I can scale from this point, and then I can scale it, for example, in this to this, to snap it to here. And those things are so useful all the time. Scale, it works with all the transform, with grab, rotation, and scale. So super neat. I think I'm gonna be using it all the time. It's like, how did people snap before? It's just remember, transform, press B once to set the snap base, and then click and choose the other snap base point. So good, so good. You can use it for rotation, for scale, for anything. Thanks Dalai for showing me this example, because this makes it very clear. Like when I was trying it myself, I was like, okay, I'm gonna demo it with a cube. And with a cube, you can actually also demo. For example, if I Shift D this cube, right, and I want to place it like in here, like this. I would do, well, I mean, you can just basically Shift D and move it with an increment. But if I choose the vertex snapping point and I Shift D, you see it at first it starts to snap it from any point. But if I press B and I say, no, wait, my first snap point is this, and then I press B again, I can just move it there. And then B, click, click. If the B, now I want to use this here, click, click. It is so neat. And you can't even see my mouse much, but when you see the mouse, that I'm just doing a small movement when moving around, it is so cool. I hope you in the chat are appreciating this. The light is showing up here. And did I make a mistake?
Oh no, just very happy to see this. Please, I just wanted to send more love to the developers that made that possible. Hermano was the one like spearheading this, and Campbell reviewing it. I helped with the design 4 years ago.
Really?
So it's, yeah, 4 years ago. In July it'll be a 4-year anniversary of the design using that file. So for me, it's very, as an architect, you know, it's my education. I was craving to have a base snap for so long that I couldn't help but burst into your door.
That's so cool. You can feel free to do this more often. Did I demo it correctly? Did you see it?
Yeah, it was super nice.
Yeah,
the scaling was super big.
Awesome. All right. Isn't that great? Yeah, this doesn't happen on Zoom at the working from home. Thank you. Awesome. So yeah, isn't that nice that you get this kind of interruptions? That's one of the perks of working at the Blender Studio and getting developers. So if you don't know him, but yeah, you know, if you watch this before you know him, he's a product manager and also development coordinator in the past, and he's a developer, but his background is architecture. So if you're an architect, but I've been thinking of getting into development, like Blender development, it is possible. It's not like, oh no, I chose the wrong. No, you can do both if you want. It is super nice. And this is the task that Dalai sent me about 4 years ago. Snap Tools, 4 years ago. That's so cool. Nice. All right. I should end the show here because it doesn't get any better than this. Anyway, I hope you're as excited as that I am. And Germano, thanks for working on it because of all the on this feature. Snapping. It's now. No, I wanted to do a pun. Anyway, cring. UI. Let's continue because many people have been asking about the feature also. File, save, incremental operator. Yes. You know, if you're working on your blend file, say, yeah, your blend file, your character.blend, but you want to save a copy of it, you can go to File. You can do Save As, and then you're gonna save it, and then you can do like plus to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? Okay. What if there was an operator that would do this for you? Okay, this is it's here. Once you save your file, you can click on the Save Incremental option in the file menu, or you can hit Ctrl-Alt-S for saving a incremental version. Yeah, that's it. This patch has been on the review for a while, but there were some discussions because, yeah, there is one issue. You could call it an issue. It's not really an issue because it's kind of an issue. Okay, so if you use the save incremental option, the open recent list is going to be, yeah, it's going to have the file that you just incremented. So you're going to see file character.blend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the same that happens now if you save incremental manually. So there is some discussion already going on about improving the recent files list to be maybe to override that version and always load the previous, or maybe even better, what if in the open recent you could have a drop down, so you could have like arcvis and there will be arcvis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside. That would be even nicer because then you get access to all of them. Yeah, but that is a separate patch. That was a bit of a showstopper for this patch, but we shouldn't. If the behavior is the same as if you do it manually, it's okay. Other than that, we can continue. So this is by Harley, by the way. Thanks, Harley. And the next one is also by Harley, and it's a one-liner, actually two-liners, that it doesn't do much by default, but it allows you to theme your theme, to change your themes setting for outlines to be transparent. So if you ever wanted to not have lines, like for example, the outline. I'm not a huge fan of tabs having an outline because, yeah, I don't know. I think it looks cooler when it doesn't have it. Not about cooler, but like it blends better with the background and it adds the less noise you have, sometimes the better. So in this case, I could just go to the theme, go to the user interface, go to. I know this is in the 3D viewport because this uses the old tab system. So if I go to theme and then in tab outline, instead of changing the color to red, I can just make it nothing, transparent. So now the text, it would be nice if we would highlight though. I think tabs should highlight on hover. like these tabs do. But I'm actually, yeah, you don't see my cursor, but I'm moving my cursor over these tabs and they don't highlight. We should fix that. You're watching this, Harley. Or maybe it's just better to just fix this code once and forever and make it use the proper code for tabs and the proper widget for tabs, which is in user interface tab. This one, because it's also a different kind of tab, which unifies this thing. 4.0 is the moment, developers. Let's do it. Unify things. But yeah, having no outline, it's pretty great. I think it allows you even to have full-on of icons that a complete UI that you couldn't have before. There is not an issue, but if you have overlapping widgets, for example, when there is a option, a toggle connected to a dropdown, and your outline color is not either opaque or transparent, then the alpha is going to overlap, right? If you have 50% here, 50% here, you're going to have one in the center when they overlap, but that is expected. That's the thing to keep in mind. What else? Oh, this is didn't know it was missing. The text editor, you can zoom in and out, but the options were missing from the view menu. So now they have been added by Red Sir. So thank you, Red. And also it fixed a label that was incorrect in the add-ons. Or the remove add-on was set to internet. So small detail, attention to detail. Thank you. The next one, we move into the UVs. The next changes are add optimal UV packing using pre-computed layouts. Produce optimal layouts for n squares, where n is 11, 18, 19, and 26. With thanks to Walter Trump, Pertti Hämäläinen, Howard Wainwright, and Eric Friedman. Neat. And it was actually added to 3.6. Is this considered a fixed, or it's because it didn't have a pull request? Let's consider it a fix, because if this, yeah, it's just better. Doesn't change the UI, so it's okay for Beacon 3. And the next change, also related to UV, it's called reorder options and improve naming for the UV pack islands. Update the names of constants to match in the UI. So the UI improvement. This is how it used to be before. A bit convoluted, and now it's a bit more organized. Starts with scale, rotate, rotations, margin, and so on. I would make it a bit more compact even, if I could. Like rotation could be in the same line as the method, like just simply rotate and then the method. The same with pin, could be just pin and then you get the options in one line, similar to how we do it in the inline options, for example, like this, basically. And now is when I can't find a setting. The next change and the last change with V is freeze frame feature for the retiming tool. Yes, this one I actually had time to check. If I go to video editing and let's try to video edit to add a video here. So this is someone testing stuff. The retiming tool, let's try to demo with the UI at 200%. Right, so the retiming tool, which has been introduced in Blender 3.6, now has an option to add freeze frame. So when you are in the retiming tool, you can click plus, right, to add points. You can scale those points, move them around, And this number here that you don't see me pointing out, it's how fast the speed is going to be. But when you want to freeze a frame, you basically are setting the speed to 0 in a way. Now you just hold Control and then click and drag, and you notice that when I hold Control and move, the line becomes blue. If I click drag, well, it used to become blue. I also found a way to close Blender by using the retiming tool. Isn't that amazing? The retiming and the reclosing tool. But hey, it's an alpha state. If I was a good citizen, I would go into here to the report a bug and report this issue. However, it's better if I would do it from within Blender, from help, report a bug, because that way some info is going to come with the commit, such as which operating system I am in and the drivers that I have, the graphic drivers that I have. Oh, there are new graphic drivers, I think. Maybe that could solve or make my issues worse. Either way, today has been a bit technically challenging. All right, that is the last change. Actually, there is a bunch of Vulkan updates, but that I would love to share with you if the blender.community website would work. Let's see if it works now. Snap improvements. Thank you, Sansuls. You made the thread. I'm gonna abuse of my moderator. But this is a link. Yeah, no, I wanted to make a post because I wanted to share with you the entire list of things that I've been talking about today, and this list is here. So let's say I'm gonna copy paste and make a new thread for a Blender today. I'm gonna do it live now because otherwise I'm gonna forget. Just so you see what is the process. This is the process of me updating, making the thread every week, by the way. And it was called like snap improvements, like that, just so I can. This is development, not community. Bam, there you go. Just so you see everything, because this is a real list of everything that changed this week. There is over 180 commits, many fixes and many cleaned apps. And the Vulkan section that I said there is a lot, I meant it. There is fixes, crashes, detecting the AMD vendor. So yeah, very much welcome changes. Let's see what questions can I answer in the last few minutes of the show. Let's say start by the ones that have more votes, and then I'm gonna go to the bottom. Hi Pablo, VSE 2.0 project has been in development for over 3 years. Not all checkboxes are finished. Is the video sequence editor 2.0 project over? As we don't see significant updates for the video sequencer in a long time. There are plans for changes in the VSE. I mean, VSE 2.0 was the hopes of getting more people excited about the project and more contributors as well. So some of the topics have been tackled. I mean, if you say that there hasn't been updates in the video sequencer lately, but if you go to Blender 4.0, 3.0, 5, 3, and 293, all the active releases, VFX and video, there is a retiming tool in 4.0. No, in 3.6, 4.0 has some improvements. The retiming tool was introduced in 3.6. In 3.5, there were also changes, right? With a few operators, copy drivers. I mean, it's not gonna change your life, but there are improvements. Like, people are working on it. The new retiming system for the speed up trips. So this wasn't the tool, but it was the option. And in 293 there were changes. Yeah, improved threading settings. scrubbing performance in FFmpeg, proxy building performance in FFmpeg. So, hey, let's not say there hasn't been updates in video sequencer, because there are. Not significant updates, but everything is significant. I mean, it's more significant than the changes that are happening in other areas of Blender, for sure. But always feel free to drop by, and if you ask, I bet they will answer, unless you ask in a way that is not very pleasant. But it's good to show interest when you care about an area in Blender. Just ask, just check, just provide mockups. It's like, hey guys, you need help with this one feature that you want to implement. I can make this mockup for you, or I think it should work like this and that, and show you know, interest and excitement. It's contagious. It can hopefully work with other developers as well. But there is someone that is working, like Richard Antalik. He's working full-time on the video sequence editor, but it's just one developer. You go to the Blender Development Fund page under grants, you see that Richard is working on triaging and video sequence editor. Triaging is when you go through the reports, through the back reports, and make sure that the reports are valid. So that's also a lot of work. Next, Facu asks, Hola Pablo, hope you're doing great. I am. ¿Cómo estás? Just a few quick questions. The first, the new hair system, when will it have dynamics or physics? It's not planned yet as far as I know, but I wouldn't say it would take long, because the idea is to deprecate the old system at some point, and that is one of the features that will make it feature, you know, complete. But also we haven't seen physics yet in geometry nodes. Once that is in place, it will probably be applied first for hair. It makes sense. But yeah, we just added simulation nodes. I mean, the team just added simulation nodes. So physics is a kind of simulation. Those geometry nodes presets for the hair that are on the asset browser, shouldn't it be better to have those presets directly in the modifier to add like any other modifier, so they are easier and faster to add? Not necessarily. There is this asset browser stuff. Like a modifier is not a data block that you can make, you can link, and you can share. But the asset browser items, they are groups. They are node groups. So you can link them and share them like any kind of data in Blender. Whereas modifiers, they are not. Modifiers are unique, and that is a big difference. So yeah, no, not really. Will the cloth physics be improved? Because as far as I know, it's not possible for two different cloth objects to interact with each other. Will they be improved? I would say yes, because I am optimistic. There are no plans for it, but I have high hopes that once geometry nodes gets better physics, that will motivate the community to contribute, and the team as a whole to renew some of the physics in Blender. Like maybe right now it's limited to one per object, and you can't have two objects combining. But if you're combined, but if you had a cloth solver as a node, you can show it in as much geometry as you would like, and then you will solve that. So yeah, I would say yes, I think it will be improved, but because you didn't ask when, that's my answer. But yeah, a lot of this is just hoping for people to get excited about stuff. Okay. The next question, Blender Bob, I'm gonna answer 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more. Hello from Santa Claus County. Interesting. Santa Claus County. I hope you're doing well. Then again, you always do. Do I? Or do I just pretend? No. I'm mostly doing fine. It's just Mondays are Mondays and technical stuff. But I'm happy that you're all very understanding when I have issues on my computer. Now that Cycles has light linking, the only two big missing features for me are MIP mapping, a must, and optimizations for volume rendering. Any developments on this? I'm not sure, actually. I haven't seen any branch related to that. I think the team is still working on light linking. Light linking is not done. It's not over. The team is still working on it. So, yeah. I'm not sure. I think some NPR tools are going to be worked next. But I wish MIP mapping or like support for the TX textures that with actual mapping would be at some point implemented. I'm not sure about volume rendering. Next, Node tools will be the Hi, by the way, SJ. Node tools will be the interface at a higher level for geometry nodes. For the development of Blender apps, this kind of interface at a higher level is also important because in large part, they will use geometry nodes for creating content. For example, landscape Blender apps and Blender apps need a higher level interface. Blender apps movie sandbox prototype is ideal for that. Is this the time of the day where I can't read? And then linking to Elephant's Dream data files, which you can still get, by the way. You can download 4 gigabytes of data files and render the entire Elephant's Dream if you get Blender 242 and this file, by the way. Isn't that amazing? So Blender apps is ideal for that Elephant's Dream Blender Open Movie production files. I fail to see the connection between Blender apps, Elephant's Dream, node tools, and geometry nodes. So sorry if I don't understand the context here. Sintel simulation nodes. I think we have a case of trolling here. When was this created? It was created last week, and it's called Sintel sim nodes. It's interesting though, and there's also anyway. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to skip this. I don't see the connection. The last question, Sam House, please make a real question. Hello, Pablo. Relatively recent changes to vertex paint within sculpt mode makes it really fast. And one thing that would be really welcome is multi-resolution support. I've only seen one topic about this, which is from a really long time ago, and now it seems more relevant than before with the sculpt mode integration. I just wanted to bring this light into light again. And this, I'm not sure about the multi-resolution. I think multi-resolution could be next. However, the big thing that the team is working on, and I think even the developer has renewed contract to continue work on this, which is really good news. It's the dynamic topology, which is not maybe what you're looking for right now, but the dynamic topology has been rewritten from scratch pretty much to allow for supporting attributes. I talked about it last week, but that is like the big thing that the developer is working on at the moment. If you go to the code blog, by the way, have you seen the blog post from last week about node tool gizmos and more? If not, go check it out because it is pretty sweet. It's a bit lengthy, but it is a good read. Like you get to get a glimpse of what could be coming in the future and how nodes, like node setups, geometry nodes, could be connected with tools. With like on the sidebar, you click on a tool, that kind of stuff. So pretty exciting. Have a look. And why was I here? Oh, because in the homepage of the code blog, if you haven't noticed, we've been linking to the weekly updates and the module meetings as well. In, for example, the previous meeting note, you can check the list of everyone here. Well, everyone except the developer that I wanted to highlight that is working on this. Okay, let's see. Sculpt. Okay, maybe not here. Did I just grab the one that it's... Okay, well, I can confirm that he is working on the dynamic topology. It's just maybe not making it into the commits or into the list of weekly reports. It's maybe better go to the projects and check the modules for Sculpt and Paint, and then workboard. In the workboard, you're gonna see a few tasks. Actually, some of them marked for multi-resolution issues. And yeah, this is the developer I wanted to mention. And if you see their activity, you can see that they've been pretty busy. Temp, Sculpt, Din, Topo. Actually, I think this is available in the buildbot even. Builder.blender.org. And from here, you go to branch. And then, yeah, Din Topo. A few days ago, 3 days ago. For Windows 2. Yeah. Okay, so I heard this branch is much better in handling attributes with dynamic topology. So hopefully once the dynamic topology work is done, they can focus on the multi-res, the other big thing missing. But as always, please get involved in development. You don't have to code to get involved in development. Go around, ask here, hey, what's up? What's going on? Maybe, I mean, this is 2 months ago. So if you see that people are working on it, and this is the state of things at the moment, the list of issues, maybe don't go and add a comment here, but drop by the chat. You can, if you don't want to make some noise there, go to the module homepage, and in the module homepage there should be a link to the chat Sculpt Paint Texture module on Blender chat. Always. I need to highlight the text so you can see it. Yes, that. Please get involved in development. Everybody, the more the merrier. If you can help with like making an icon, making improving the UI, make a mockup, or suggest features that you think are missing, and maybe check if there are designs already for that. If maybe it's just missing people. And if you're an architect and you want to switch to Blender development like Dalai did, why not? If you're anything, I want to move. I think Ton was it was studying industrial design, I think. What else? Many people here have done other things and then moved into Blender development, web stuff, and then Blender development, or even yeah, from animation to web development. It's never too late. And actually, even nowadays, I think it's better than ever to get into Blender development because of all the switching to C++, and the code is more easier to read and a bit more modern. So I would say give it a try. And if you can't, I finished another episode without plugging in the Blender development fund. And because I said this, you're probably already leaving this video. So I'm going to just show it to myself. Hey, Pablo, how's it going? Yeah, great. There has been some updates to the list of to individuals. But if you want to contribute to Blender, you can join here. Or you can go to the studio website and then get the latest and greatest from the open movie projects, the assets, the everything that the team is working on, the tutorials. You want to learn geometry nodes from scratch? You can. You can learn all the basics. But Pablo, is this outdated? Well, some things never get outdated, like the data structure or like the basics about vector handling and stuff. That they don't get old. They don't age. Yeah, if you want, please contribute. For some reason, the numbers are going down in the studio, so we have to check why is that happening. But it would help if you want to contribute to Blender and you find value on the tutorials and assets that are shared on the Blender Studio. Maybe join. Maybe drop that Netflix and switch it to the Blender Studio. Other than that, oh, I don't have a music today. Yeah, I can't. Oh no. The music that I don't know if you hear the music, but OBS shows that it's working. So let's see if on Spotify there is some sort of version of the Gile theme. If you hear what I'm playing now. I hear it. I hope you hear it. I hope. Stay tuned because next... Whoa, wait. No, wait. Okay, music, stop. Next week, there will be no... Well, actually, next week and then maybe the week after. No. Okay, I will try maybe the week after. Because next week is Annecy, the Annecy Animation Festival in the beautiful city of Annecy in France, near the Swiss border. We are going to be there with the team, with some people from the Blender team, some people from the Blender Studio team. We're going to have a booth there, amazing booth in the corner of the of one of the main halls. So it's the first year that we have a corner. So we plan to get like a big screen, and we're going to be giving demos of whatever you can think of, maybe geometry nodes, but mainly I think it's going to be grease pencil stuff as well, because we're going to have Pepe and Daniel Martinez Lara there showing how to use grease pencil. So any questions that you have, please drop by. This is in the MIFA part of Annecy. Yes, next week already. Crazy, isn't it? I will not see you next week, but maybe the week after, if I manage, because I'm also really behind with the release notes. And we are a few, like next week I'm not going to be able to work. And the week after is going to be the last one that I can work completely on the release notes. So stay tuned to the notes in to Twitter or Mastodon or the YouTube channel, the YouTube posts. Other than that, I hope you can hear the music that I'm about to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. See you soon. Have fun. Happy blending. Have a great week. Bye. I didn't time it. There.